In this session, we're going to cover up a small bit what we did yesterday, means we're going on the day one. And on this day, we're going to proceed what is left in cloud computing. But before that, let me tell you something in very much summarized manner, that what is a cloud computing? What does the term cloud computing stands for? As I said yesterday also, I gave you all an example. Cloud computing is not a very complex thing. It's a new technology. There was a technology for cloud also. People used to host their applications. They used to take services by the web servers. After web servers, there is something much more efficient services through web. That's why cloud computing came into existence. Cloud computing is nothing but a network of web servers, a highly configured web server by which end users can take service, can subscribe this service from. Although everything at the end comes at the end for the money as well. So they introduced this kind of technology. What happened in cloud server is that first feature is that we have to pay what we use, how much we use. If the end user requirement increases, we have to pay more. If our end users, you and I, requirement decreases, we have to pay less. This flexibility is there in cloud computing. The second more feature is that we can access our data or our day-to-day work through this kind of technology. It's very easy. From wherever we want, whenever we want, and whichever we want, and however we want. Means from our phone also, from our laptop also, from our tablets also, from our desktop also. And the concept of cloud, the name, this technology has been given cloud because the data is not stored in a static web server. It keeps on moving according to our locations. Suppose if I go to UK or US and I'm using some service provider, the service of any service provider. For example, I'm just giving you an example. Suppose if I open Gmail account here in India, who will be serving me in India? Obviously Google, the server which they have hosted in, which they have settled in India, they're going to provide me services. If I move to UK, what will happen? Who's going to provide me service? Obviously, Google will going to provide me service, but I'm going to take the service from the web servers, from the facility which Google have settled on in UK. So what happened is in there? If I move to New Zealand and if I open my Gmail account, from which web server I'm going to take the service? I'm going to take the service obviously from Google, but service provider servers will be where? Of New Zealand. So in this way, what will happen? What I'm trying to say is that according to our location, the server pulls the data and keeps it into the nearest location from the user. So in this way, it will be not wrong if I say my data can be transferred from one server to another server around the world, wherever I move, like a cloud. So this is the basic concept of cloud computing. Now, yesterday we were discussing about deployment models, architecture of clouds. We have discussed deployment services. Under deployment services, there are different types of clouds computing. There are private clouds, public clouds, hybrid clouds, and the community cloud is left, what we are going to discuss in this session. And there are also services model also. like IaaS, infrastructure as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, SaaS, software as a service. We're going to discuss those things. So cloud computing is not a one thing. It's a mixture of services as well as hardware. So a great group of hardware, highly configured servers, web servers, highly broadbanded internet services, they all combine to form the architecture of cloud computing, as well as the services like PaaS, SaaS and PaaS. They also give the kind of service provider, how they're going to provide a service comes under these three. And both the architecture, the deployment services, the deployment model and the service model combine to form cloud services. So first of all, there is a term called virtualization also inside the cloud computing. What happens in cloud? Obviously, at the bottom level of the cloud, we're going to use the web servers only of the service provider, whether the web server is of Google or Facebook or Mutebreak or you can say Microsoft Azure and any other service provider. But at the end of the day, we are using these kind of hardware only. Though my data is traveling from place to place according to my region, but we are going to take the service from these kind of hardware. So what happened is that there's a term inside a cloud computing also. Okay, it's called virtualization. First, I'm going to show you what is virtualization and what are virtual machines. VM, you can call it virtual machines, VM, or RDP, remote desktop protocol, or you can call it virtual machines also. So because basically what happens, like you and I, we are using some services called Gmail services. We are using some cloud services like Netflix also. We are using many kinds of like Amazon web services and many kinds of web services. But for an individual, these things, the names which I just took are the business giants in this field of cloud computing. But what about the end user? If you and I want to start a business in a cloud, I'm not going to purchase a server because it's going to cost us very highly. It's highly costly, as well as it requires space, maintenance, and high-speed internet broadband. Do I have to employ certain people to take the care of it, to maintain the server and everything? DNS have been maintained, firewalls has been maintained, security has been maintained, many things. So what the general public do, for the startups, I can say, who starts their business, they can use virtual machines as a server. Though they can book the entire web server in the cloud for their business to carry out, whether they create some other resources for end user, like for example, I'm just saying we can create a small website also. We can create a small website for a business, for a small business. Suppose somebody is making an e-commerce business, somebody is starting an e-commerce business. Though they want to they have to capture the entire city or the state or the country, and they need, though they will be needed, high-speed broadband service, high-speed internet service also. So what if they want to start their business in a cloud computing? Means they wanted to use the services from the cloud. They want to use the server from the cloud. It will be very, very, very costly. It will be much more cheaper than providing having a physical server in our company or in our office. But if you want to, though if you also want to book a entire dedicated server from any cloud service provider, that's also going to cost us much more. So keeping this in mind, the great companies, the big companies, what they do, they divided the server into several small servers. How they divided, what is the divided, all these things comes under virtualization. Let me give you an example. I have a simple machine in which I have uploaded Windows. Though the same machine, the same laptop or the same desktop is being used by some other person in my office. But they don't require Windows, they require Linux operating system. So what I will do, for my purpose, I will install Windows, and for their purpose, what I will do, I will install an application called virtual machine. And inside that virtual machine, I will install Linux. So whoever wants to use the Linux can access the Linux from the same machine also, as they are using their computer. How much space, disk space should be there in Linux? How much processor should be there in Linux? How much RAM from my main hardware should be allotted to the Linux? All will be configured by virtual machine. So using virtual machines, my computer was divided into two computers, and one having Windows operating system, second is having Linux. If the third person comes and wanted to use the machine, but he doesn't require Windows and he doesn't require Linux also, he requires Mac. So what will I do? I will again go to virtual machine software. I will install one more operating system into it, allotting a certain disk space for Mac, certain RAM, and certain processor to the Mac. So what will happen if the third person comes and sit in the same system? They will go to virtual machine, open the Mac. The entire Macintosh will be open on their system, will be boot on the system, and it will work as if the system is completely Mac environment, and they're going to operate and use the system. Suppose a fourth person's come and they require Ubuntu or Debian or Fedora, some other operating system. So what I will do, I will upload an operating system in virtual machine with Fedora, so that he can come and use the other operating system other than Windows, Linux or Mac, Fedora or Ubuntu or any other operating system, and carry out their work. So what happens is there, virtually I uploaded 3 more operating systems in my work system, and I gave every single user password, user ID and password, and they can operate it from wherever they want through internet. They can use my system, my same system, from wherever they want, whenever they want, through internet, through the static IP. They can operate their own operating system. Though my system hardware is one, though my entire system is one. The same thing happens in virtual private server. Virtual private server means you are accessing the system as a server, though it's not the dedicated server, but it will work as a web server. Okay. So virtualization comes under cloud computing also, and this helps the startup industries also. Suppose you want to design a platform, a portal with a huge traffic, and the shared hosting is a limited access for the great big websites with heavy resources, so that doesn't provide much access. If you want to own a server in a very little cost, you can go for virtual machines. The virtual machines are called VM, RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, or Virtual Private Server, or VM. So there are many cloud providers which provides virtual machines. I will go for, basically I have open, I commonly use GoDaddy. So in GoDaddy, if you go to hosting, you can go for HostGator also. There are tremendous amount of companies which provide hosting solutions and web solutions also. So you can see in Windows website hosting, you have 3 kinds of hosting over here. But if you go for server, you will find 2 kinds of server: virtual private server and dedicated server. What will happen if somebody is booked a dedicated server? under a cloud service provider, they're going to give you the entire rack. They're going to give you the entire, suppose 2 TB, 4 TB of hard disk space for the entire server, and it's going to cost more. Around 1 lakh rupees or 80 to 1 lakh rupees per year. But what will happen if you go for virtual private server, VPS, hosting, virtualization, which I just explained, the one server is been divided into 4 or 5 servers. Uploading the required operating system according to your need virtually in that server, and that server will be provided to you for the startup or the one who wants to use it with a static IP, user ID and password, and you can use it that server. So breaking down a dedicated server into small pieces, or you can say virtually, is called a VPS, virtual private server, virtual machine, or RDP, remote desktop function. So you can go and verify the dedicated server cost and virtual private server cost also. You're going to find a huge difference in between them. Now we're going to continue with our yesterday's session. Yesterday we just stopped with pure virtualization. Sorry, parallel computing. Parallel computing is a term. I just used it to explain you all how cloud computing use parallel computing to make the process faster. Okay, and I was explaining the architecture of cloud computing. There are two terms come under architecture. First is deployment services and the deployment model and service model. So we explained the deployment model. We divided the deployment model in 4 parts. What kinds of different cloud computing we have: private, public, and hybrid. We explained all these things. But the 4th was left yesterday. It was community server, community cloud. What is community cloud? We're going to discuss this in this session. And then we're going to proceed to the service model. The IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. What are these? What are these terms called? How? What they use in cloud computing? What are the features they have? What are the services and features and facilities they provide for the end users also? We're going to discuss this. So we're going to start it with community cloud. What is a community cloud? Community cloud, we heard about, we have learned, we have discussed about the public cloud, the cloud which is open to everybody. Anybody can access it anytime and from anywhere. The services which cloud provides have security issues, have customizable issues. Then we have private clouds. Private clouds are used by closed and organizations privately. The data is not being shared with anybody. Security is high and can be customizable according to that particular organization need. Then we have hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud, what does it do? It's a mixture of, you can say, private and public. Some data are being viewed by everybody. Some data is being used as a cloud server. Some data is being stored, restricted for a particular organization. I'll give you an example. Yesterday also I gave. Suppose if we use Mutebreak, the content of every reporter, every student is being viewed by anybody. So that part has been kept in a public domain, in a public cloud domain. The details, the entire data of every gazette, every school, every college, every student, the phone numbers, the addresses, or any other detail are being kept secret, or you can say in a private domain cloud that is not visible to anybody. But there is one more term called community cloud. What does it do? We'll discuss just right now. But there are pros and cons for hybrid clouds also. The major cause is security issue. Some are accessing all, some are accessing less. So security issue will be there. Network issue. As the same cloud has been provided to everybody and not to everybody also. So security issue, the network issue will also be there. Now the term comes community cloud. What does community cloud mean? It allows system and services to be accessible by a group of organizations. It shares infrastructure between several organizations from a specific community. It may be managed internally or by organization or by. What does it mean? Is that suppose Google, Facebook, Mutebreak, or Microsoft or Apple, they combine together to form their own cloud system. Though they have their independent cloud servers, cloud structures, cloud data centers. But if they want to combine together and create a group of servers, web services, they can do that. That is called community cloud model. The cloud computing, when offers service or between an organization, or you can say only to a group of organization, that kind of cloud computing is called community cloud. The outsider may be invited or may not be invited, but the group of companies, but the group of community, what they perform, and they are taking services from that particular cloud. That particular cloud is called community cloud model. It's a very simple kind of a model. Okay. So this is the community cloud model. Community stands for the group of organizations when come together. It's called a community. And when a group of community forms the entire cloud architecture to take service from them, it's called community cloud model. So they do have pros and cons also. The thing is that network issue will also be there, as every organization. In every organization there will be many people, many users, and all the users are dependent upon the same cloud. So network issue will also be there. Security issue will also be there. One organization data should not leak other organization data. The security issue is also there. Now what we will do, we will just move on. This is the system which I made, Microsoft, HCL, TCS, they all combine to form the same cloud server. It's called community. Okay, you can just see according to this diagram of mine, the server up in the cloud are being accessed by two different organizations. Means two different organizations accessing the same cloud, though they are performing the community cloud model. Okay, when we talk about the benefits of it, cost-effective sharing among organizations, security. As I discussed about security will be there. One organization data should not correlate with other organization data or should not leak to the other organization data. Sharing among organizations is very easy and cost-effective also. If a community forms a cloud rather than owning their own cloud, obviously the cuttage of the cost is also be there. This is the same thing. Now we will jump to the service model. The architecture of cloud, there are two topics under which we have to discuss, as I said earlier, deployment model and service model. Deployment model deals with the hardware issues, the distribution of the hardware issue, kind of distribution of the hardware issues, kind of distribution of the hardware systems to different organizations, public, semi-organization, groups, publics, and things like that, private, public. Now we are discussing about the service model, the second part of deployment model, the second part of architecture of cloud computing. Service model are the reference model on which the cloud computing is based. These can be categorized into three basic services. Now, service, we have the cloud servers around the world of different organizations or the same organization. I'm just giving you an example. We have in a cloud server, we have high-grade servers with a great configurations. There are different kinds of web servers, also cloud web servers. Now the time comes for the service. What kind of service is going to be provided by the service provider to the end user? Who will provide the service and how the service is going to be provided to us? We're going to discuss these three things. Now under service model, three things come. Infrastructure as a service, IaaS. PaaS stands for platform as a service and SaaS stands for software as a service. Again here, infrastructure as a service comes under hardware facility. What kind of structure is there? Are the cloud computers or the cloud servers are well maintained and have a great configuration or not? Platform as a service is completely an IDE, integrated developing environment, or you can say IDS, integrated development services. The platform on which the applications are being developed is called PaaS, and the application which has been developed and ready for the user to consume comes under SaaS, software as a service. Okay, you can see it over here with this chart. At the bottom we have IaaS, infrastructure and network architecture, service, storage and network issue system. Then above it, it's come PaaS, application developers, OS, application stacks, server, storage and everything. PaaS stands for platform as a service because we have the hardware, we have the configuration of the web server. What service is going to provide to the end user? To provide a service, we need to have some products. Where we're going to develop that product, we're going to develop that under PaaS, platform as a service. And after developing that server, applications we're going to provide it to the end user. That's comes under SaaS, software as a service, end user who's going to consume that particular service. Well, it provides access for the fundamental services as a physical machine, virtual machines, virtual etc. Amazon Web Services, Google Grid are also there. Virtual machine, disk space, virtual local server network, load balancing. Why we use virtual machine? I just told you at the beginning of the session. Virtual machines, load balance, IP address. We're going to study. We're going to discuss about the virtualization in our next slide. So here is a small note which I said SaaS stands for the consume purpose, PaaS stands for the building purpose, and IaaS stands for hosting purpose. All these things comes under cloud computing virtualization. Okay. So the same thing. Okay, now we have all these resources available in that for the end user in the service model. All resources are acquired by the customer as if they own it. What I'm saying to say is that if we required a service from cloud server or from cloud through internet by our medium, what will be our medium? Our medium will be our desktop, laptop, or mobile phone or tablet. We subscribe the service and as if we own the service, then the service for that particular period of time will be ours. We can use it as we want. Organization use their own platform and application with the service provided infrastructure. Obviously, if some organization is owning the entire cloud infrastructure, they're going to use that particular cloud structure to develop some applications for the user, for the end user. And the key feature is of the service model is instead of purchasing hardware for the end user, I'm talking about for the purchasing the entire hardware outrage, they can pay for what they use. They can pay for what they use. IaaS on demand means if I need some small space server, small space virtual machine on a web cloud, I can order that for a period of time. If my works need increases, and if I need more space, more RAM on my virtual machine by the service provider, I can just demand it and I can get it without owning a virtual server. I can also own a small virtual server on a cloud. Infrastructure is scalable, dependent upon processing and everything. Now the issues comes with virtualization, or you can say the issues comes in infrastructure as a service are compatibility and legacy security vulnerability, virtual machine sprawl, reboost of virtual machines level isolation, and data erase practice. Now we will discuss these 4 things under IaaS. Compatibility with legacy security vulnerability. The entire security features, the entire security measures have been taken by the cloud service providers. Virtual machine sprawl. They can create small servers under one server by virtualization and give to the client or the persons who want to use it, whether developing purposes or whether testing purposes. So for them, they are owning a server without owning a physical server. Data erase practices means once your entire work has been done on a virtual server of cloud and your subscription get expired, if you don't need the server anymore, what the service provider will do, they're going to erase that particular operating system or the part which they have allotted to you for other subscriber, they're going to give it to them. Now we're going to move one step further, which is PaaS, platform as a service. We have the servers, we have the infrastructure. Now we require somebody to develop something for the user to earn money. So PaaS provides a runtime environment for application development and development tool, etc. PaaS provides the facility required to support the complete life cycle of the building and delivering web applications and services entirely from internet. Example, App Engine of Google and Force. There are many examples I can give for the runtime environment, for the tool creation, means website creations or web applications creations platform. There should be something, an IDE where you design and develop an application on the cloud for the users to use them and give you the money. Here the PaaS comes in action. I just gave you an example of 2 platform as a service. Okay, you can see in this image, the structure view of PaaS is there. This is the developer. For example, and the right hand side, the developer has been shown. We are using this virtual machine through an IDE. The IDE is what? It is PaaS, platform as a service. We are developing this IDE. We are using this IDE for developing our business application, and the IDE is backend with data security, backup recovery, application hosting, and scalability infrastructure, which is going to provide by IaaS, infrastructure as a service. And as a developer, I'm using the PaaS service, platform as a service, to develop an application on cloud for the business purposes. This is what the diagram shows you all about. As I said, the key features of PaaS is provide a platform with tools to test, develop an application in the same environment. Enable organization to focus on developing it without to worry about the under infrastructure. Means if I am using a virtual machine from a cloud provider, what will I do? I will only focus on developing. I will not focus upon the security matters. I will not focus upon the hard disk issues. I will not focus upon the operating system issues. I will not focus upon the any infrastructure issue. I will only focus upon the developing environment. This is the key feature of using any cloud computing, cloud server, or you can say cloud service provider. As I said, security is also, facilities also. Though there are benefits also and issues also with PaaS. The benefits will be lower administrative overhead, lower total cost, ownership, scalability solutions, more current system software, and the issues will be lack of portability clouds, even PaaS for proceeds. We will discuss it in our next slide. Okay, for the issues we will discuss lack of portability between PaaS cloud, event-based processing, scheduling, security engineering of PaaS applications. Suppose I am using a cloud-based virtual machines to develop an application, and my application will be there in my system. If I once need Windows operating system and I wanted to jump with the entire my work to Mac or Linux, that can be an issue. That can be a security issue also, and for a developing issue also. So this is what lack of portability between PaaS clouds means. Well, this is the PaaS type: application development only environment, standalone developing environment, open platform or services environment, ads on development. These are the only types of terms which comes under PaaS type. So application developing comes under on-demand scaling. The more we require the software to develop applications, we can get. The thing is that we can only use it only in one system, means only in our one VM virtual machine. Open platform service offers open some software, means open source software we can use it on our cloud platform VM machine. And add-on developing facility means we can customize our virtual machines also as we subscribe for the higher model. Now we gonna discuss something about software as a service, SaaS, the last stage of service model under cloud computing. SaaS stands for software as a service. SaaS is a software distribution model in which application hosted by the vendor or service provider to make available to the customer or a network, typically on internet. Okay, now we have the infrastructure. We created an infrastructure of cloud infrastructure in IaaS. We developed an application by the developers through PaaS, platform as a service. Now, once the application has been developed, we are going to give it to the customers to use it according to their need, according to their subscription model as well. So this is what all comes under SaaS. SaaS applications are commonly applications like billing and invoicing system, custom relation management, ready-made application which we can use by the cloud provider under subscription charges, under a subscription period. And this application, Mutebreak.com, all comes under subscription model, SaaS model. Now we're going to discuss something benefits of SaaS model. If you are using a service, so for example, if you are using Microsoft Word, okay, or Microsoft Office Suite, we subscribe for a monthly subscription, we subscribe for 6 month subscription, or we gonna subscribe it for yearly subscription. The end user, I'm talking about the end user. All the upgradation, modification will be maintained by the Microsoft itself. We don't have to worry about that. We just have to pay the subscription and use the service, the cloud service, which Microsoft is providing. This is one more benefit of using a SaaS model. It is compatible to all users, means what I'm using my neighbor is, or my colleague or my friend, if they want to use Microsoft Office suite, they're going to use the same thing. For every individual, the cloud service developers don't have to make different systems or different applications on cloud. They got to make one application which could be compatible to everybody. This is what compatible for all users will have the same version. Erase collaboration for the same reason, the same thing. Global accessible. Global accessible means if some cloud provider is providing an application through SaaS to the service provider, means the end user using their cloud services, they're going to use it anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country, anywhere and anytime or by any device. That's called global access. There are also issues with the SaaS model. The first issue is browsing-based risk. Suppose if I'm using some confidential data in my browser, means our bank details, I'm doing some transaction and my browser is open, and on another tab, if I use some features of Microsoft, so the hacking chances of the data might be there if we use the same browser for every different services. Network dependency. Network dependency means the more we use depend upon our internet services provider also, how fast they can provide internet so that we can use the service from cloud. Lack of portability between SaaS cloud. Thing is that if I'm using some services by Google in India, by Google Cloud, and if I move to China, though they doesn't use Google Cloud, so the service which were being provided to me through Google Cloud in India are not going to provide me in China, because China doesn't use Google. So the entire service to be transferred from one cloud service provider to another is one more issue in SaaS service model. This is just a informatic diagram. At the bottom we have IaaS. At the bottom we have IaaS, infrastructure for cloud service providers, and above it is PaaS, platform as a service, where the entire application will be developed. Above that we have SaaS, CRM, the customized model, the product which been developed for the end user to use, comes under SaaS. And above SaaS is client, platform where web browsing, mobile app, in client, we're going to use the service from. We're going to use the SaaS service through internet, through our medium. That's a service. Comes under service. Now we're going to jump to virtualization. As I said, starting of the session about some virtualization also, the same thing I'm going to discuss you about here. The virtualization falls under PaaS topic, platform as a service topic. Though one cannot own the entire web server, a cloud web server, to make it usable for every end user, the cloud service provider divided the entire server virtually to small servers and give it to the persons according to the need. Okay, now on right hand side we have virtualizations, and on left hand side we have cloud computing. In cloud computing session we have cloud can be extended as much as we want, and on virtualization, on virtual machines configured limited in scalability. Now in virtualization, what happens if we book a virtual machines from a cloud provider of 40 GB? It will stays to 40 GB only until and unless we upgrade the subscription charge. And in cloud-based computing, what happens if we use some cloud server? Then what will happen? if we upgrade our subscription model, or as our work increases, the size can be increased and the cost will also increase. If the size of our work decreases, the cost automatically decreases. Quick setup. Setting a cloud is very tedious task. Means it requires a highly professional one to create a cloud servers, configure a cloud servers for a day-to-day life. But it is very easy to configure a virtual environment, a virtual private server from a cloud for an individual work. Flexibility. It is very flexible. I'm talking about cloud. It is very flexible for the person to access and use the entire cloud from any location with, and proper authentication and is required to use a virtual machine. Service types. Now, if I go to service types, IaaS and SaaS will have two different definitions. Dedicated hardware, multiple hardware that is created. Cloud computing, dedicated hardware requires for multiple virtual machines. Means, as I said in my parallel computing yesterday, that not one processor do the job. Their job has been divided into many parts, many instructions, and been carried out by different processors. That's why the entire job has been executed very easily and in a very short time. But in dedicated hardware, or you can say a virtual machine, one or two processors has been provided, though it's work fast also. But the difference is two things. Multiple hardware uses are dedicated for in a cloud computing IaaS, and SaaS used for a static and virtual machine under IaaS. Integration cloud. Integration allow future expansion of user applications. Means both the things, and in virtual integration allow examples of new machines within the SaaS infrastructure. Means both are same. Means the cloud computing is that in a cloud feature in IaaS, now if the number of users increases, the load has been divided, and in virtualization of any virtual machine or of any cloud server, the one or two persons going to use that particular machine only for the developing or testing purposes. If we talk about dependency for cloud, multiple users can access the network using same link. Multiple OS can be installed in a single server computer. As I said on earlier in starting of the session, that one server has been divided into small servers virtually using a virtual machine. It's called a VM, virtual machine, or if somebody uses directly the cloud services, they can be n number of persons. Accessibility is also there. It can be accessible from all over the world, internet and cloud. And for a virtual machine, it requires proper permission for the user to access from outside the hardware network. Disaster recovery, no dependency upon one machine, because as I said, cloud computing, the data moves from one server to another according to the user requirement and according to the user location. So data loss of any data is very in a small percentage. But in a single machine, in a virtual machine, virtual cloud server, if somebody is using a virtual cloud server, the loss of data can be harmful because you are using some small dedicated virtual machine in the cloud. If the data gets lost, it's been lost. There might be some recovery process also, but generally these two features are there in cloud and virtualization. Same thing is there. Okay. Now we're going to discuss VM provisions, means virtual machines provision. Server provided is defined server configuration based on the human user requirement, hardware, CPU, RAM, etc. OS and application. As I said in earlier of starting off my this session, that if the same machine of mine is being used by 4 different persons using 4 different operating systems, they can use it by virtualization. By operating different operating systems in my machine through virtualization, they can use it according to their need. This is what virtual machine provision do. Now, VM provisions, virtual machine provision life cycle is divided into 4 parts. Number 1 is requirement analysis, IT services requirement. Services requirements, how much should be the hard disk, how much should be the processor, how much should be the RAM. Then comes to VM provision, load of operating system application configuration, means loading of the software on which loading of the PaaS platform as a service on that particular VM. The third is using the operating system running the provided service. Now, on any operating system, the software what we are going to use comes under this third part, and the fourth part is once our work has been done on virtual machine cloud, it will be erased by the service provider for next person to use it. Now we will discuss something about migration. Migration is very simple. Migration of 2 virtual machines. Suppose if I am using 40 GB virtual machines from a cloud server and are 20 GB virtual machine from the same cloud server provider. If in future, if I want to merge those machines, the entire those machines will be merged and all my works comes under one machine. Now there are 2 types of migration: hot and live migration, or you can say regular or cold migration. What does hot and sorry? First, we'll discuss about the hot or live migration. Suppose I'm casting my entire phone through a TV while my phone is on. This is called live migration. One VM machine, virtual machine, is being migrated with the second VM machine while both the machines are on. It's called live migration. And in this process, the virtual machines may get heated, or they can. That's why it is called hot migration. Transferring or migrating of one VM machine to another VM machine when the targeted machine is switched off. Obviously, if I'm transferring my data from my phone to some other device and my phone is being switched off or in sleep mode, it's called regular migration. Or in this process, my phone will not get heated or the machines will not get heated. That's why it's called cold migration. The 2 slots of hot migration and cold migration. VM is powered on, needs shared storage. CPU check short time and very small. Short time is very small. Whether in cold and regular migration, VM machine is switched off. VM are not required to be storage. No CPU is checked. Storage limit is large. Now levels of migration. Levels of virtualization, if I'll say. This is the last topic we will cover, virtualization. This is the last topic what we covered, and this was the first topic what we discussed in this virtualization. Network virtualization, storage virtualization, server virtualization, operating system virtualization, service virtualization. Then it's come to desktop, application virtualization, and user. This is the table. Server virtualization. It is the partitioning of a physical server into several servers, virtual server. As I said, dividing the big servers into small servers is used for maximize the service area usage. The server virtualization technology is mainly used in web applications by using virtual web server. It provides low-cost web hosting service. Instead of having separate computers for each web server, we can have number of virtual servers on a same computer. The advantage and benefits of server VM virtual machine server: to make more efficient user of server resources, to improve the server availability, to help in disaster recovery, developing and testing purposes, to centralize the server administration. Advantages will be, you can say, each virtual server can independently be rebooted. Server virtualization reduces the cost because low hardware is required. Now we have community. Now this was the entire diagram of levels of virtualization. We don't have to own the entire server rack of 2 TB. It's going to cost us more from any cloud provider. Though we can divide the entire server infrastructure and resources into small servers by the help of virtualization, and can provide to different developers to test the servers, to develop applications on servers, and that's going to cost them very less. So this is the entire diagram of virtualization. My notes will be provided to you all, and the link of this video will be provided to you all as well. So if you have any questions regarding cloud computing, you can just get in touch with me. Or the member of Teckat also. So by this, I end the session of cloud computing. I hope you all understood what the concept, the technology cloud means, how it works, what are features inside the cloud computing are, types of cloud computing, terms, features, benefits, advantages, disadvantages, pros, cons, issues, everything what a cloud computing is having inside it, how it originates, how it's occur, how it works, everything. I believe all is clear to you all. So by this, I think I will be ending the session. Guys, if you have any question, just go ahead and ask with me, and I will be happy to answer you all. The questions regarding to cloud computing, as well as questions regarding with any other technical issues apart from cloud computing, apart from web services also, apart from developing environment also. Go through the videos of Teckat, webinars, seminars, and every video, technical videos, professional videos, learning videos of Teckat, so that you can learn some basic things by the help of the experts. Okay. So here I end this session for cloud computing. I hope you all guys enjoyed it. Thank you.